It's another Cowboys win, just like we all anticipated. The Cowboys hand it to the Jets 37-22, and we're back ready for another Cowboys and Coffee podcast episode. If you're watching here with us, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Go find us on YouTube and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram and all over the place in social media and Designated Report. D, Spen, glad to have you guys back. We're ready, baby. D, you called the win. Props to you. What'd you feel about the win?
I filled all the checks, all the checks. You got 5 sacks. Um, the numbers, the numbers of the game, 34 minutes of holding the ball. The Jets, Cowboys had 25 minutes. 25 minutes to score 37 points. They had the ball 34 minutes, scored their last touchdown, added up all to the numbers. But the game was bent over middle of the third quarter, really. The game was over with. Um, what you want is see signs of life on that defense, and that's what you saw.
Yeah, I mean it's a great win. It was in control. Game was over. Halftime game was over with. Spen, what are your thoughts on the game?
I was just happy that they took care of business. Um, the defense has not been great, but you played a bad offense, a bad team, and you didn't, let them put up 40 on you. So I was happy with that. I was happy with how we had a whole bunch of, second string offensive linemen in there. They came in and did really good. Didn't skip a beat. I know D's been harping on it the past couple of weeks. They have depth at offensive line. Most people can't even, they'd be lucky to cover one offensive line hurt. Uh, we have half the line. There's
Four,
one
four
person.
backup linemen,
Yeah, one person. Um, and
and the one
they
starter is Marcus Steele.
yeah, which is,
Not your
arguably
best
the
lineman.
second weakest, outside Tyler Guyton, but um, they did great. So I was very happy with it. You kept Fields in check, didn't let him get into a groove, and Javonte Williams played well. You got Pickens involved again. That's 5 touchdowns this year already.
Which matches his
So
total
I was
from
very
last
happy.
year.
Yeah, I was very happy with it.
So it shows you that to me that Pickens wasn't it wasn't Pickens as a locker room cancer. It was that he knew he was much better than what he was getting. They weren't getting him the football, and that just grinds on you after a while playing with, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, who are just not good quarterbacks of this. And you change to playing Dak Prescott, who's playing some of the best football of his career, perhaps the best football of his career right now. The Cowboys went into the fourth quarter up 30-6. And that's only because they scored a field goal with 57 seconds left in the third quarter. The game was over. 37-22 is not
Yeah.
anywhere indicative of how close the game was. Fields put up late points. He threw 46 times for 283 yards. Dak threw 29 times. Indeed, this is what you've talked about a lot. 18 to 29, 237 yards, 4 touchdowns.
That's what
Javonte
I told
Williams,
you. That's
16
what Aikman
carries,
did.
135 yards, and a touchdown. How about this? Ryan Flournoy coming in. To me, I don't think there's any question now. That's wide receiver three when CD comes back. Um, you have Flournoy and Turpin do the 3-4 role, and then you send Jalen Tolbert to Siberia and never hear from him ever again. There's no reason to have him on the football team, any football team, even a Pop Warner football team.
Yeah, Iceland.
Yeah, that's fine. Send him to Reykjavik.
Iceland's bad. I wouldn't go
And
to as Iceland. He blew my fantasy this week. I put him on the fantasy football, and I had one catch, and I lost in a close one. I couldn't believe,
He didn't have a
but
catch.
right, he didn't have nothing. There's nothing, not one half a point or anything. Um, I know he has 7 touchdowns from last year, but there's no improvement there at all. There's nothing. He doesn't get it. So I don't know. Again, he's not going to be on that roster next year.
so a couple of things
You
that
hope.
Next
You
year
hope.
because
Dave,
You hope.
the other wide receivers coming back off the IR too.
you've talked about this Cowboys coaching staff and how they're just different. And I'd like to say that they hold people accountable, perhaps that we haven't seen in a Cowboys coaching staff since Parcells. Since Parcells. Um, Shamar James played more. He had 8 tackles, 7 assists, 15 total tackles in the game. Um, Kair Elam was benched, right? They went with Reddy Stewart there with Diggs and Bland, and it was a whole different feel to the game. Wanye Thomas stepped up, made a big tackle there, and Brees Hall on the outside, stopping a touchdown. James Houston's getting run and had another 1.5 sacks. By the way, he has more sacks than Micah Parsons. Oh well. By the way, just so you're aware, Jamar Chase has more tackles than Micah Parsons as well, in case you're wondering how their seasons are going. Solomon Thomas played well in there. He's mixing it up. The D tackles are playing very well. They're mixing it up. It's nice to see they're holding players accountable when they don't play well. They're making changes, and it's coming about. We can't say enough about this offensive line. 4 backup players. Listen, Nate Thomas is going to be starting the rest of the year no matter what. Whether he's right tackle or left tackle, he's going to start, baby. He is nasty.
Hmm.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, with that finesse type offense they do have, they have players that are very physical. And as I told you before, these offensive minded coaches, they're all business. I told you the interviews, seen interviews, nobody's joking around. There's a question, there's an answer, and it's all business, and that's how they're playing. That second team, second unit is very unusual to listen. And I know, we said it last week. One left tackle on Garrett, the whole offense fell apart.
They would have to almost forfeit games when they would lose one offensive lineman. They'd have to literally give up before they played because they were getting Dak sacked like 7 or 8 times in a game. That's not exaggeration against the Falcons. Chaz Green, who should be in
Oh,
jail, who should be in the under the prison and throw away the key. Yeah, look at them now when your only starting offensive lineman is your right tackle, who's just not good. It's been I challenge you. Tyler Guyton has improved. He's improving every week he's playing when he's healthy. No Tyler Guyton, no Tyler Smith, no Cooper Beebe, no Tyler Booker, and they put up 37 points. And they did whatever they wanted to. Connor Riley, wow, what a job he's done on the offensive line. Clayton Adams with his scheme, his ability to scheme a run game. Look at the difference now in Arizona. And I know they've been hurt by injuries, don't get me wrong, but they're not running the football like they were before. And the Cowboys can
mm.
run and they can pass. Their ability to scheme up passing plays, a touchdown pass to Ferguson on the right side. They fake the counter. It's all counter footwork. The linebackers are shifting. Ferguson blocks. He slips out to the right. And then there's 3 linemen leading the way down the right side. Oh,
With no, it was one of the best calls of the year. How to execute a tight end screen.
and
It
Flournoy's
was a
down there
perfect.
blocking too. They set it up. He gets in for a score. It was a great play. It was great execution.
Yeah, I think the play calling has been amazing. Uh, Shoddy in sorry, I lost light here, but uh Shoddy working with Dak. Dak is in command of this offense. That's what you see more and more every single week. How many times has he gone up to the line and it's not just checking down to the second play? Dak is changing plays. And a lot of quarterbacks out there, they'll just say kill, kill, and go to the second play. I don't see people changing the plays anymore. And Dak is doing that because Shoddy trusts him and he trusts Shoddy. So I think all around the play calling, the trust, it looks really, really good.
So, D, I think this is the first time in a while since maybe his rookie year that Dak has been put in a position to succeed. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the resume. We always go back to resume, and 2 years ago, he should have been MVP. I know you're a Cowboy fan. No, he had an MVP season. He's had his 35 and 7 and 8 interceptions before. This is nothing new. Now they're seeing something new. He's done this before. It's not like this first time. Listen, the guy who turned it around, our buddy over in Tampa Bay, who gave his heart to the Lord and got his life right, You see that's a jump that you say, okay, now he's playing better. Dak, when he's not hurt, and I'm not going to talk about playoffs, I'm just talking about regular season. See, this is what you have. This is not a shock. Colin Hurd, I never seen him play so great before. Yup. 2 years ago, he had outstanding numbers. And I guess they went another way on the MVP. He was second in MVP. And by the way, Wentz, Carson Wentz, what's his name? Carson Wentz. How's that career going? Yeah. Go ahead. There you go.
Dak's healthy. I don't want to hear about Jared Goff being better than him. He's not. Dak is a top 10 quarterback. He's pushing a top five quarterback with the way he's played recently, and he's leading this team, and the defense, as he talked about, D, is starting to show some life. They're certainly not perfect, but again, if they can be average, Dante Fowler Jr. finally shows up. He finally got the memo. He got a sack.
That's nice.
Sam
Yeah. He
Williams
heard this
decided to,
podcast. He heard
yeah,
this podcast.
Sam Williams came back to planet Earth. He got a sack, right? Houston gets 1.5. Kenny Clark gets one. Osa Digizua gets one. That's 5 sacks for this team. That works for me. Keep these
with
guys in check.
reinforcements on the way.
That's the thing.
Number Agent Zero
You're going to
is
put
on his way
Amari
back.
Overshown with Shamar James and Maris Leaf out, and they're going to hurt people. They can
Mhm.
fly all over the field and hurt people.
Maris
So
literally gets into fights on like kickoff and stuff like that. I love it. He's hitting people hard after the play. I love the attitude that he brings. They're going to be flying all over the place.
So let me bring up something I've been on another program about when James, the linebacker, was in there. They were giving up 8 yards a rush. They went into a zone and they made everything in front of him and he made the tackle. Going in the zone, you guys play football. I played 1 year. I know. I don't know how well you can play pick balls off unless it's badly thrown. They were turning around right in front of him. He makes the tackle. That's what he was doing. His assignment, keep it in front of you. He didn't gamble. He didn't miss a tackle. He did fine. Now, the run game of that game right there, specific, those numbers are not, they're not where they are because of the second half blowout. They weren't getting those numbers when it counted. The numbers weren't there when it counted. So
no,
that's why James, go ahead, son, right?
yeah, I
That's my
totally
point.
agree with
My
you.
point. He played the role where he played, and he played it well.
Of course, he has stuff to clean up. He's a rookie, but I think I'm okay with that because that's the way it goes, right? That is that's part of the growing process. He's out there finally getting some run, finally getting a chance to show himself, and I think he's performing admirably. He's doing just fine for where he's at. When the Cowboys are not pressing the run because they're expecting the pass, and you're running the football, great, big deal. It doesn't bother me that you put up 100 yards rushing because game was over. They want to run the ball in the second half. They want to run the ball after the game's out of, or even the second quarter, the game's out of reach. It doesn't run all you want, run all day, which leads me to the Cowboys
Right.
running game and Javonte Williams. 16 carries, 135 yards, a big touchdown run, 8.4 yards per carry. What a free agent signing. To me, we're entering into that one of the best free agent signings ever possibilities. I'm not saying he's there yet because there's other guys who had lengthy careers, but with the Cowboys, I mean, not ever.
Yeah,
With
I was
the
like,
with the
wait a
Cowboys. So
minute.
here's my current list. So sixth, I have honorable mention, I guess I should say, Leonard Davis with the Cardinals, from the Cardinals. Number five,
Who's a great human being.
yeah, he is. James Washington was one of those Rule 2 free agents from the Rams. That 5-4. I have Jay Novacek from the Cardinals. 3, I have T.O., taken from the Eagles. Number 2, Leroy Glover, who came to the Cowboys, 4 Pro Bowls in the first 4 years of the Cowboys. And number 1, obviously, is Neon Dion Primetime Sanders. So Javonte Williams, though, is showing himself that he is more than capable. I believe he's on pace for 1,400 yards this year. He's had a great start. Jaden Blue got in the mix a little bit. I know try to get him going. He has to get a feel for the game, but
Well, on the kickoff, you saw a little bit of his speed.
yes,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah,
has to
you
get
saw
used
how
to that.
fast he is. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and if you look at the carries that he had, there was nothing there anyway.
Right.
There was one carry where he had a little bit of a crease. He had to make a guy miss, and he almost did. And if he did, he would have been gone. But there was nothing there anyway. So
And he picked up a block for Dak to pass. That was your
yeah,
key right there.
That's the thing.
Because remember
That's
when
what you're
Deion
missing.
Anderson got hurt, and whatchamacallit's brother came in and couldn't pass block, and Romo got hurt on it.
Yeah, and that's a
yeah,
big
Rod
thing.
Smith.
If you can't pass block as a running back, you're not going to play. I think that's been the issue with him is he hasn't been able to pick that part up. Now that he's shown a little bit that he has, I think they should start to work on feeding him more as possible, as is necessary, to get him up to speed, I guess I would say, because you can't have him getting destroyed. Before we continue on to the next game, there's some Cowboys and Jets news we had to talk about. And Mark Sanchez apparently, like, listen, got into it at first, like, oh my gosh, Mark Sanchez got stabbed. And then we realized that Mark Sanchez, like, deserved to get stabbed. He, like, jumped this dude, cut him up, like, busted him up good. Spen, what do you think about the whole Mark Sanchez situation?
It's really crazy. I remember me and him, met Mark Sanchez in and out down there in Texas. Uh, and he seemed like a really nice guy. We've talked with people close to the organization and, you know, heard some crazy stories about him allegedly, with, people's wives and stuff like that. So, you know, you hear certain things and you're like, man, I didn't think he was like that. But allegedly, he's not the greatest guy and doesn't have, the greatest morals. So it's kind of not shocking when you hear, some behind the scenes stuff about it, all allegedly, of course,
Sure.
but
Well,
it's
let
it's
me explain
insane to
something
see.
here. Let's get a little spiritual for a second. Let's hope he hit rock bottom. Let's hope that there's a Christian brother and sister in the Lord or somebody in his family, and because we know what Christ does to players' lives.
Yep.
Amen. Let's
Amen.
Yeah.
hope and pray.
Yeah, yeah, and hopefully he learns something and
That's
grows.
right.
And now we can go back into actual football. The Cowboys are 2-2-1. They're a play or two away from being 4-1. Couple plays here. A split second against the Packers away from being 3-2. A catch by CD away from being 4-1, maybe. But they are 2-2-1. D, you've talked about them being in the playoff race. They definitely have helped themselves these last couple weeks with the tie against the Packers and now the win over the Jets. Now on to the game at Carolina against the Panthers. They are 3.5 point favorites going into this game. Now the Panthers just came back from down 17-0 to beat the Dolphins. Rico Dowdle just ran for 206 yards on 23 carries to absolutely bulldoze that team, which is a very soft team. The Dolphins are just not a good team at this point. Um, the Cowboys go into that game with, I think, an offense that can put up points on a 2-3 Panthers team. And Rico Dowdle said, listen, they know what I'm capable of. I don't think he was trash talking the Cowboys. Like, I don't think there's any bad blood. But I'll tell you something real quick. I guarantee you the Cowboys are happier that they spent the same money on Javonte Williams that they did on Rico Dowdle. So now, um, Spen, let's start with you. Where are you with Cowboys at the Panthers this Sunday?
So I think, we talked about it last week. These are two games with the Jets and Carolina that they should win. These are teams on the lower end of the totem pole. Um, this team is just a slight step up to, the Jets. So it's a little bit more of a challenge for them. Um, they're going to run the ball. So if they can't step up and stop the run, then there's going to be some problems. So I don't know if Hubbard is healthy yet, if they're going to keep him out another week based on how well Dowdle just ran. And there might not be bad blood, but I'm sure Dowdle's going to want to drop 200 on the Cowboys too. So, they better be ready to play. But I think, like you said, they're going to put up points against that defense. Dak is too much on a roll right now. I think CD is questionable to come back this week. So with CD coming back in the mix, I think they're going to open things up a little bit more offensively, but defensively, they need to come to play to stop the run. Don't let the young guy, Tet McMillan, get going on the outside. They have some, decent little playmakers over the middle. Nothing too crazy, but again, this is another step up. Uh, you know, Fighting some guys on the lower end of the league, but you're building confidence to go forward and, play a Commanders team who just had a big win against the Chargers this week. So we'll be playing them after that. So keep improving, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, Cowboys are 12 and 5 all time against the Panthers. They won their last three games, 2021, 2023, 2024. They've scored at least 28 points in every matchup, 28, 33, and 30 last year in December to beat this team. I don't know that this is the team that I mean, you have to respect everybody. I don't know that I fear this team. D, what's your opinion on a Panthers team?
They're going to come to play. They're going to play the mighty Dallas Cowboys organization. This is not the '90s team that we're going to. I could sit here and say Carolina got no shot. Okay, they have a shot. They're playing home. There'll probably be some Cowboy fans down there. Uh, um, this is a better team than the Jets that you play. The quarterback is going to be better. They have a receiver. I mean, number 5 for the Jets is pretty decent. Don't get me wrong, but I think their offense is better. Their defense, I think last year was ranked up there. I don't know what they're doing this year defensively. They're going to be ready to play. They're going to love to beat the Cowboys.
Sure, sure.
Love.
Now, Bryce Young has already thrown 4 interceptions this year and been sacked 9 times in 5 games. So he's getting hit multiple times a game. He's throwing an interception almost one time a game. They don't do a great job. They have 5 total sacks on the year. They do have some talent though with Derek Brown, Ashawn Robinson right there. They're definitely talented. JC Horn out there as well. So they have real players. They have some players out there who can ball. Bobby Brown, right? They've got some guys who can do some stuff there. Um, I don't know
I
that.
think, sorry, real quick. I think with Brown in the middle there, this will be a good test. He's going to block up, those running lanes up the middle. So this will be a good test on how to, adjust by shoddy to still get the running game going. Because when we go back and play Philly, they're going to have those two big guys in the middle. No one's spitting in anyone's face, the second time around. So this will be a good test to see how he can still have an effective running game against a behemoth of a man in Derek Brown.
Sure, the Cowboys have been effective running on the edge and the outside. They're able to, if you see some of their players, their backside linemen are able to get to that second level and pull and move. That's one of the strengths of Clayton Adams, his ability to get his linemen downfield and blocking to get your running back into the second and third tier. Cowboys this week, they are questionable on CD, on Turpin, and also on the guards. They're not so sure with Tyler Smith, but they think Tyler Booker could be back. That's a big piece. Those are big pieces you can add. George Pickens has been playing the best football of his young career. And if you can get CD back there and get Turpin back there, now when you go 4 wide receivers with Flournoy, now you actually have some weapons. I mean, what a great game. We haven't even mentioned Jake Ferguson, who's absolutely excelling this year in his role at tight end. He's going to have a bounce back year so far. So um, I'm intrigued to see what they can do. Can the defense continue to show us that they're learning, they're evolving, they're getting the defense? I like Wanye Thomas back there. I like him playing more. He has a nose for the football. I need to see another defensive effort that, like the Cowboys had in the first half against the Jets, where they basically put the game away and say, whatever, we'll put them on ice and we'll get them event. We'll take care of the game. A team that is not a bad team. I don't think the Panthers are bad. There's a lot of bad teams in the NFL this year. The Saints are despicable. I mean, the fact that they beat the Giants is unbelievable. The Jets are a bad football team. The Titans are a bad football team. Right? A lot of bad. The Raiders are a bad football team. Right? Those are bad teams. I don't think the Panthers are a bad team. I just don't think they're yet a good team. They're another year or two away of roster building for that. So you have to beat these guys if, as D says, you think they are a playoff team. Neither a playoff team. That's the reality of it. D.
How tall is the quarterback for Carolina? Is he 5'10", 5'11"? He's
Sure.
not 6'1".
Oh,
With cleats on. With cleats on, he's 5'10", 5'11".
right. Yeah. I mean, he's I mean, you could probably get away saying he's 5'10", 5'11". Oh, he's listed at 5'10", but I think that's a hair generous. So let's
Yeah,
see.
it's funny about successful 6-footers and under in this era about passing lanes and so forth like that. The scheme off that of keep him in the pocket and not let him roll out and get out of the pocket so he can get out away from pressure or keep him in the pocket because I believe, and Spencer, you played quarterback before. You mentioned it right with that semi-pro team.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't played quarterback in a while, and uh, I got in there. I was already starting at receiver. I went in there, practice to be the backup quarterback, in case of emergencies. And our offensive line was 6'4", 6'5". Our
Yeah, they
two
were big.
tackles were 6'6", like legit 6'6", guys. And I took one snap and was like, how on earth do these guys see? And I'm 5'10" and a half. Like, that's it. And uh yeah, okay. Yeah. Enough of that nonsense. But anyway, um I could barely see anyone. I didn't know what
Right,
was
and
going on. So
yeah, I
the
was
fact
shocked
that they could actually
that you
get
said that
passes
too.
off is
Yeah,
crazy.
And let me tack on to that
right.
because the game is changing defensively, and I talk every week about the two high shell because it's bringing right. It's not the vertical passing game it was 5, 6 years ago, where even smaller guys like Drew Brees and Russell Wilson could get by because it was a vertical passing game. Everything's in front of you now, which condenses the field, which makes it more people in a tighter
Yes,
space, so it's harder to do. And if you don't have
that's
the
what I'm saying. You got to
elevation to
keep him in the
see it,
pocket.
you don't have the ability, if you don't have the lanes and you don't have the good blocking, it's going to be a very difficult day as
With,
a smaller quarterback.
with faster, smaller linebackers too, who are flying around. There's no more big 6'4", guys with
Rest in
cowboy
peace,
collars on.
Levon
Um,
Kirkland. He's still alive, but
See,
you understand.
yeah.
it's
Rest in
getting
peace,
off the
Leighton
field of
Vander
third
Esch.
down. Yeah, it's getting off the field of third down. You don't have to sack him. Just make a bad throw and get off the field. Throw the
Yeah.
timing off, and get him off the field. You want them 4 for 16 on third down. You'll blow them out.
Yeah.
And that's why I like guys like Stewart and Thomas, that are coming in. They've been lacking guys who are going to come in and make a play. Make a third down play. You don't need to be Ed Reed at safety, the whole time. We need you to do your job and make a play when you're called on. And these guys, right? Stewart is coming in. He's making plays. He's shooting through, linemen and stuff, and making plays in the backfield. He's not afraid to do it. Wanye Thomas is not afraid to go make a play. The same with Flournoy on offense. Tolbert can't make a guy miss to save his life. He couldn't juke mommy. He couldn't juke mom. And Flournoy comes in and he can make people miss and pick up a third down. That's all we need from these guys. Get off the field on third down and make a guy miss and extend the drive. That's it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Bryce Young's only completing 60.9% of his passes this year. That's not great. They lost to Arizona back in September. He threw 55 times for 328 yards, but that's all, and they still lost. They only scored 22 points. So which is weird. They follow up the next week and they beat Atlanta 30-0. And then last week they're down 17-0 to Miami and they come back and win. He was 19 of 30 for 198 yards, two touchdowns and a pick. I don't think that's enough to beat this Cowboys team. I don't think the Panthers defense is that good where they can hold the Cowboys in check all game. They put up 10, 22, 30, 13, 24. They're going to have to put up over 25 points to beat the Cowboys. I don't know that they can do that this week. I don't know that they can do that. So where are we as far as predictions for the game this week? Who thinks they're going to win? Who thinks they're going to lose? Spend what's your score, your prediction, Cowboys, Panthers.
I think the Cowboys are going to win for sure. I'm trying to base it off of, kind of last week and how things went. A lot of those points with the Jets was kind of scrub time. I'm going to say it's going to be around the same type of score, maybe a little bit closer, but like, let's say 35 24.
35-24 Cowboys win. D?
Well, that offense has played well so much. The running game travels on the road, and this is what you're going to see. The running game travel on the road. I don't think they'll get 30 points. I think they'll get 24, 24 to 10 Cowboys.
24-10 Cowboys. So you guys are getting big blowouts here. The line is 3.5. Uh, I'm going to go 27-20. I'll take the over. Um, I know that might feel like a lot, but I think 27-20. They might hang around a little bit. I think the Cowboys put them away with a late field goal from Brandon Aubrey. I would not be surprised if they score 30 plus points again because that's how explosive their offense has been. And can you imagine once they have a healthy CD, a healthy offensive line, a healthy Turpin, and then the defense starts to roll in some more. Marshawn Kneeling gets back. Overshown gets back. They keep playing Siobhan
Carson.
Ravel. I'm waiting for
Yep.
Siobhan Ravel to get on the field. So, this is a team. Diaz said they're a Pro Bowl, a playoff team with some health. With some health, be very interested to see where they go with this. Yeah, I'm going to say 27-20 Cowboys win, and I think they improve to 3-2-1. Get ready for a game against the Commanders. Before we wrap this up, we've still got a few minutes left to talk. Anyone have something they want to bring up or talk about, or anything you're saying while we're talking about this, or anything you've noticed going through these last couple weeks?
Well, let me just say this. The guy from the Dolphins have been talking about Chubb,
The
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 defensive end,
Dolphins,
the
Bradley
Dolphins,
Chubb.
Bradley Chubb.
Bradley Chubb. I would take him. I would take him because you could play him inside. You play him inside, that defense is going to be a totally different. If you can pull it off, that one right, I would. I watched this tape ago. He could play inside or out. He's very physical, and I listened to him talk. I like his character because character means a lot to this head coach. He's
It
got
does.
assistant coaches are all business, all
Yeah.
business. Let me tell you that in the meeting room, they're all looking at each other like, we better take Carolina serious. We better take them care. We better take them serious. But Chubb, I would make the move for him. I wouldn't give up a number one, but I would see if they wanted to sell him.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. Jerry still said he's open, and as teams start to fall out of contention, they might be more willing. I mean, the Bengals traded for Joe Flacco today, which is like great, cool, sick, nasty, dude.
What a dumb move.
I mean, well, they have to do something. They have no shot. At
Well,
least he can throw the ball far to Jamar Chase. I mean, my goodness,
it's
I'm
a horrible pickup. The offensive line stinks. He's gonna be a sitting duck.
imagine going from the
Horrible.
Browns. You're like, don't worry, you're going to go to a different team. It's like, yes, they're going to have a better offensive line, right? And you're like, not
No.
quite. Probably the worst
I don't know
offensive
what they
line in
got for him.
football.
It'll be
Yeah, I don't
different.
know
Yeah, a
what they
different
got
offensive line,
for him.
sure. So, yeah,
Yeah.
what are they going to do? They might be looking for some draft capital. Again, am I willing to send a first round pick for Trey Hendrickson or a second rounder and redo a deal here or there? I might not
So
be
the other
upset.
part of the question is, The Browns going to bring in another quarterback because are they going to carry three or two?
They're going to carry three, and what it probably sounds like is that Deshaun Watson is closer to coming back than we probably know. I think in the next week or two he'll be active. Whether or not he starts is a different thing. But I don't think they're going to run with Shador as the two. I think they
I
run
even
with
forgot
Shador as
they were
the-
on the team. Yeah, Spence, you
right.
remember him being on a team?
I haven't
Watson.
heard about him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he's returning from his injury, and hopefully he never plays another down again. Hopefully, goes and retires, gets his life straight, and we never hear from Deshaun Watson ever again. But that's what I think. Part of getting rid of Joe Flacco, they picked up a fifth rounder next year, and they're going to run with the young guy anyway. You might as well get rid of that asset, and especially if Deshaun Watson's there. They're paying something like seven quarterbacks on their roster, right? Because
yeah.
of the preseason, they paid Kenny Pickett still. They paid this guy, that guy. So, yeah, that's something
But I
to
do
to
want
be
to.
seen.
How much time we have left, Paul?
You still have another two, almost 3 minutes.
Okay, so let me do this in honor of one of the NFL players. I'm going to end it with me.
Oh, you, oh.
Got you. He got you. Real mature, pops.
Well,
I think it was funny though. It was funny.
it was good.
It
It
was
was good.
funny. I didn't have a problem with it. You know, they everyone literally took it and misconstrued it exactly like if he was talking. So it is what it is. But he'll get his shot eventually,
Yeah,
But what people don't understand is they're not going to start a fifth rounder over a third rounder right off the bat, unless Dylan Gabriel looked like Tim Tebow in preseason and couldn't complete a 7-yard pass, which we love Tim Tebow. He's a brother in the Lord. We love him.
Boy, he
But
was.
there's no way that they put that much draft capital. A third round pick is draft capital.
yep.
They're not going to start him. They got to give him a shot and give him an opportunity to suck first before Shador gets in. So even if he doesn't come in towards the later half of the year, you know, Gabriel's probably not going to be too great. He'll get a shot next year.
So,
But
so
this will
before we
help him.
wrap up, the Browns are paying Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Shadur Sanders, Bailey Zappi, Dorian Thompson Robinson, and Kenny Pickett. Eight separate quarterbacks. We have
No
less than
way.
yes on their cap space this year. Who? Anyone? You have a shout out to anybody? We have a minute left. Anyone have a shout out to anyone before we end tonight? You got 10 seconds.
My fourth daughter, Olivia, who
Yeah,
will be here in a few months. We were at the hospital today and, had a little hiccup, but everything's good. So shout out to my baby girl who will be here soon.
Can't wait. D.
I think I'm going to do a shout out to my future granddaughter Olivia too as well.
That's funny.
I can't wait to see her and give her kisses.
I can't wait to shout out to my future niece, Olivia, who's going to
Yes,
be here in a few months. So I can't wait to kiss
yes,
when I see her beautiful face,
yes.
like her three beautiful
Before we go to
sisters.
Texas,
Yes.
Yeah,
So listen, let's go Cowboys. We're going to get a win this week. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and come find us on YouTube, on Instagram, and all over the place. D Spend, love you guys. I'll catch you later.
love it.
love you guys too.
Peace.